Good morning, chat. My name is Penbu. I am the programming, puzzle gaming, and music making VTuber on Linux, and today we are finally getting around to programming something. It's it's been a while. We're gonna be playing. Well, we're gonna be playing a little bit, just so to prove how it works. But we're going to be programming a clone of this game. This is KJumpingCube. If you remember, if you were here for the 1 month anniversary, we had played this while we did Q&A, and we will also be doing this for our 6 month anniversary, which is coming up next month. I believe it's already been almost 5 months. Time has been flying by. Anyway, you might ask, I have 2 projects already in flight. I have the Owl Fudge project, which has to be done before Jelly Hoshumi's first anniversary, and that is in May. Why am I not working on that? And then there's also the website, which I had left hanging, and why am I not working on that? They're in a bit of a state where it's a lot of grunt work, and I feel like I haven't done an interesting stream in terms of programming. And one of the things that I want to do is make sure that the programming streams are engaging. So we're going to do something that's a little bit more visual today, and hopefully we can get through a good chunk of it, but no promises. So we're going to start with playing a little bit of this just to remind you how this goes, and to do some reverse engineering of the game. So we have player 1 and player 2. I will be player 1 and the computer will be player 2. And so when you click on a die, it turns your color. If the number of dots when you click on it will exceed the number of dice that are beside it, it will throw its pips over to its adjacent ones. And then the goal of the game is to make all of the dice your color. I'm already not doing so well. But this is how it goes. You just click around on the dice, the pips fly out, and you try to be a little bit strategic about it. And I'm not being so strategic about it here. So kind of like, yeah. You have to be careful because it's very easy to get in a situation where you have accidentally set off or allowed a chain to form, and your opponent has something ready to set that off, and then they'll capture all your territory. So you have to be careful. So 4s, for example, you have to be careful with if they're in the middle, because this is ready to set off. Same thing here. 3s here, the 2s here, same thing. So you don't want to accidentally make a chain where you shouldn't. So that will have that. And then later on we're going to maybe reverse engineer this a little bit. We can look at the source code. I have looked at the source code because this is open source. But couldn't quite make sense of how it does things. So we're just going to intuit things and hopefully get it from there. So one thing I've noticed here is that it always goes to the left first, and then goes to the right, and then down, and then up. Now, what order it does that when there are more than one? I mean, I assume it's all just recursive, so like that, yeah. you probably want to put this all in a queue of some sort. Set them all off like that. This is probably a good candidate here. There was a question about whether it made a difference to what the order of the whether it made a difference what order the pips are triggered at. And I think it probably doesn't, but there may be a case where it does. So it's probably important to make sure that we get that at least somewhat right. Maybe we set this off. Is there a public spec or is it just reference implementation? It's just reference implementation. Also, welcome in, Gray. Gray? Yeah, Gray. Gregor Falzer. Yes, that's how it was. But yeah, it's just reference implementation, unfortunately. And I'm not about to dig into the code and try to figure out how it works. I did try. But there's some sort of... because of the way it steps through, I think it tries to... how should I say it? It's not as simple as just do all the steps until it finishes, because it has to do all these animations. But yeah, the game ends once you make it all your color. It's a very easy check. And it has to end, because otherwise it might go on forever. So that is what we're going to be implementing today. We're going to do it with SvelteKit for our front end. Hopefully I know enough, because I haven't, apart from the website, I haven't really worked with it all too much. I did manage to get in SvelteKit, or well, Svelte in general, at a project at work, but I'm not actually the one who's programming it. So this will be the first real project that I'll be working in SvelteKit for. Okay, I couldn't come up with a name, so we're going to TerPip. It's short for Territory Pips. If you have any better ideas, please let me know and we can rename this. So we start with, how do we start a stand-up a SvelteKit application? There's npm create Svelte's latest. I think we can just do this. Yes. Here. Yes, that's fine. Skeleton project with TypeScript. May as well have ESLint. Playwright would be a good idea, but maybe not yet. Yeah, I thought about what to do for testing here, but I didn't really. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with these options, so I can't really write them. I can't imagine Kit will have much to do with it unless you want the AI to be entirely server-sided. Kits, it's more for the front end. It just makes it a little bit easier to stand things up. Okay. I'm going to leave these out for now. We can figure out testing later, and that's probably a bad decision. But it's okay. If this ends up becoming big, I think we can add to this then. Actually, how do you work with this? So I actually have never seen this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do my own research to figure out how to work with this before we actually try that on stream. But future plans for this, once we get everything working locally, I think it would be a natural next step to have online multiplayer. And so there, I think some server-side capabilities would be good. And then that would be where the server-side capabilities of SvelteKit would help, because SvelteKit is a full stack. Sets up SvelteKit project. Okay. Where do we even start with this? I do want storybooks so we can see our components. Storybook, if you're not familiar, is basically a way to showcase your components. They have a SvelteKit specific guide for storybook. Yes, I did see that. So we will be going through that as well. I'm gonna move this out of the way so I don't keep hitting that. SvelteKit. In a project with storybook, automatic migration, manual migration, when that. So I've used storybook with React before, and I think before they moved to the cross library framework thing that they have now. So a lot of this is probably going to be somewhat new to me. I didn't expect this to take this long either. But looking at this, what do we have? How to mock. The mock SvelteKit import, you define it with that. Probably fine. Mocking links. Writing native svelte stories. Slowness is why I use PNPM instead of NPM. Yeah, I had actually this looks like it's just frozen. But yeah, I had looked at PNPM a couple weeks ago, because one of the projects at work has a very large node modules directory, and I heard that PNPM has much better resource usage in terms of like how it puts dependencies into the tree. For one, it links things instead of copies, which means that if you're on the same file system, that's going to be significantly faster. And also much less space. Deduplicates plus keeps global cache, yeah. Yeah, I think NPM and Yarn also have a global cache, but they copy all the resources, or all the files into place, so it still has to go through all the data. What happened here? Do I just kill this? Don't recommend Yarn 2, it's quite buggy. Yeah, I can't say I have experience with Yarn 2. I know one of the projects at work moved to Yarn 2, and I think they might be on 3 now. But the project I'm working on is still on Yarn 1, and we figured we have to migrate out of that at some point. So if we're going to migrate out of it and Yarn 2 is going to require effort to move to, we may as well look at our options. Vite moved from Yarn to PNPM. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to kill this, because I don't think it's actually moving. I'm going to try that again. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but sure. Okay, so what are we looking at for this? We are probably going to need... We're probably going to need a component for the actual grids, and right now we're going to do MVP, so following Vite's options will be overridden by SvelteKit. Probably So we're gonna have a, what is this, 6x6 grid. As far as I know, this is not configurable, so we're just going to, oh, it is configurable. Okay, well, we're gonna start with the 6x6, and then we can configure it later. Colors we'll hard code for now. Cascades. For simplicity, I think we might end up just doing everything at once and then just showing the final board states instead of animating, and we can animate later. We will not have an AI. That is also something we can do later. And yeah. Optimize dependencies change really. Is this actually running right now? Starting preview. Oh, this is running. Storybook dev 2006. Okay. So this is running at localhost 2006. So we have this here. I've only ever worked with Storybook that's already been filled out. So this is all new to me. What do we do with this? Interior projects. Add styling CSS, provide context unlocking, load assets. I think we just go right into it. I'm going to create a new window here. Go to Vim. Everything we have is in Storybook. We have main.ts. And then we also have preview.ts. I'm not entirely sure what this is doing. But also in our SvelteKit, we have source lib, which is where we're going to put all of our components. Stories, here it is. So inside of stories, we have this. I just realized we're going to need to copy this over. Make a commit, set up storybook. Then we can take a look at what's in here. So button from button.svelte. We have meta, which contains all the data that Storybook will need, and then archetypes. Right, so these set up the controls. I'm gonna move this again. These set up the controls over here. The archetypes here. Then type stories, story meta, we have a primary. Yeah, so this corresponds to these ones. And yeah, I think we're going to just figure this out as we go. Yes. I thought I'd fix my Vim. Okay, so last time we were working with this, I didn't get syntax highlighting with the TypeScript inside of this, and that was because there's a thing that you had to put in. Svelte. I'm trying to remember what it was. Which one was this? Hold up, let me look it up, because I think I put it in the Discord. This is in did I not? Syntax highlighted. Apparently I didn't. Multilingual. What's the words for polyglot? That's what it was. Okay, so I do have Vim polyglot. And then we're going to figure out how to get TypeScript working here. Else. Vim svelte use TypeScript. Okay. We're going to put this in our vimrc somewhere. Syntax highlight. I think I put it in here. Enable TypeScript highlighting in Svelte. And we probably also want SAF. So this equals 1, and this also equals 1. Okay. Now hopefully we get highlighting here. Or not. Okay. We're just gonna have to deal with that. Oh right, because I need, okay. That's my fault. That is not how you do that. I think it's set or let vim script. I'm gonna do that again. Button dot. There we go. That's what it was for. Okay. So yeah, the button here just looks like a button. It takes in a label as a prop. Okay, I think this is mostly straightforward, but we will see once we actually start with. So if we're looking at a grid, I guess we can. I never know how to start with these things. We have app.html, where the SvelteKit heads, and then the SvelteKit body goes here, and then this is where all our stuff is going to go. And you have the routes, which this is going to be the main route. We're probably not going to look at it too much yet. We're going to be building our stuff inside of Storybook. Okay. Grid. We'll start with a grid. And we will build the story with it. Grid.svelte. And actually, it probably makes sense to remove all these unnecessary ones. So it's going to be a little bit of playing around until we start writing stuff, and then I think it's going to smooth out a little bit more. So button.css and button.stuff. Actually, we should probably not do that so that we still have a reference. Grid.stories.df. Okay. And then we're going to look at, say, the button. Maybe not the button. Header is probably going to be less cluttered, so we can look at the header. So we can do imports, import type meta or obj, and imports lib grid from lib /grid.svelte. This here being an alias for the lib directory, and that's something that SvelteKit sets up. And const meta equal to this. Title is equal to grid. Components is grids. Tags equals autodocs, auto docks, I guess. We can do that. And the parameters, I don't know if we need that. Oh, there's a nice satisfies thing now. That's nice. Satisfies is a new TypeScript word. It basically, from what I remember, it basically asserts that it's almost like a typecast, almost. It asserts that this object is a certain type, and you're saying that it is of type meta header. I think. I haven't actually used it myself. Yes, you're right. Metagrid. Then we export default meta. And then type story is equal to that. And we export. Do we even need these stories? I think we do. Export const. I don't know. Default. We have no args right now, so we're just going to leave that empty. You probably want to use the stories to define several grid states. Yes, that is probably... Yes, you're probably right. Let's call this base. And we're going to start with that. And then we'll see this show up. Actually, Storybook, I think, does hot reloading. So it should be here already. Error loading dynamically imported module, of course, because we haven't actually done anything with it yet. It doesn't exist. Hello world. We should see it in here. Okay. Ash Lucio, hey, welcome in. We are making this in Svelte, and right now we're just trying to set up the project. We have SvelteKits set up with Storybook, and then we're going to be building the components in Storybook. But bear with me, because always when starting a project, it tends to be a lot of, as I said earlier, flailing around until I get into the groove. So it might take a little bit. But we're going to start with script len equals PS. So that we have a script module. Okay. Fellow developer, I'm working on making visual novel right now. Nice, nice. And then I guess we're going to leave the styles off for now. But what do we have here? We're going to need data, probably. So export lets data equals, or let's call this state. Game. Let's call it data for now. And this is going to be an empty array to start. We are going to define types for this probably later. But we can say that, what do we have here? Okay, we have an each. Actually, let's define the types now. What is this? Game state.js. Sure. Export interface. Game states. What do we actually need in the game state? One, we need the board state. And the board looks like, if it's going to be a grid, then it's going to be an array, something. And it's going to be an array of rows, a two-dimensional array of rows, and let's call that a cell. Okay, and then we can make this, we can shorten that a little bit, and we have cells. But then what is a cell? A cell contains, if we look at our game here, move this over to the right side, a cell contains a number, so let's call that value, so that's number, and then a cell also contains a player. Let's call that number 2. So I guess we'll start with that. And then we are going to export this names. I want to turn this into a type so that we can use it here. But if grid is going to be generic, then this also should probably be generic. Or data. Something like that, sure. And then this can be import data. Probably, okay. So then we can import that. Import board data from lib/game state.ts. Import type. Does this work? There's something weird with TypeScript and Svelte in that you actually have to specify JS when you're importing a real entity. But I think for types it's okay. For data, that is for data. Okay, so for each data, and then how do I use each? I think this is. There are more variables that we need to use for each here. It's got to be somewhere in here. We have to go to the regular Svelte docs. I'm looking at logic blocks, and each expression as and then this thing. So each data as row, because it's going to be a. I don't know if it's a. Yeah, I'm going to make this row column, just to make it more intuitive. Because if we do X, Y, then it's going to be columns first and then the rows. I love your theme. Yeah, thanks. I'm really big into. So it's kind of funny. I say that I am on Linux, and I am on Linux. I use Arch, but I do like the Windows 95, Windows 98 aesthetic. Not so much that I would go so far as to try to make my system look like that, although it does look like that as much as it can. But I do like the simplicity of it. So each row as cell. And we might need a key for this. But we're going to stick with that for now. And then we're just going to render something. So we can turn this into a real table. return this into a real table. And then we have each of these as TRs. And then we have each of these as TDs. And then inside is going to be, I don't know, what do we have here? Cell.value. Okay, so now we can go back to Storybook. And then we can set this to something. This is going to be an array of rows. Say value is 1, player is 0. Although player in this case doesn't really matter. Value 2. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And then value 3. Yeah, I love how clean simple it is. Currently run Arch KDE in Windows 11. Arch is really nice. Tweaking customize. Yeah. So the reason I'm on Arch, there are a couple reasons. One is because before that I was on OpenSUSE. And this was before they had Tumbleweed, I think. And so, what happened to my data? That was before they had Tumbleweed, and I was annoyed at how infrequently or how old the software was. So I wanted something a little bit more bleeding edge, and that's I found Arch. And then also I like to tweak my system, and Arch was very, very good at letting me do that. I'm gonna start with that. Oh, it's JSON, like actual JSON. So I have to put the strings here. I'm gonna just copy this. I think if I weren't using Arch, I'd probably use OpenSUSE, the Tumbleweed. Yeah, as for my window manager, you might be able to see this here. It's WMII, which is an old window manager from Suckless that they don't maintain anymore. Which is unfortunate because it means that I'm stuck on an old window manager that people don't really use anymore. However, it does seem like there's somebody that is working towards porting it to Wayland, which is really nice because all the other window managers I've tried just don't mesh with me. So being able to use it on Wayland whenever I end up doing that, and whenever I end up migrating is really nice. Okay, why does this not work? I'm gonna move this over top. So Arts. We're going to put data in here, and we're just going to put that in there. And then hopefully it actually does something. Glad I'm not the only one who calls Wayland compositors window managers. I haven't really thought about that, but I guess they are technically compositors. And they have window management capabilities. Very similar here. Went from Ubuntu to Debian to OpenSUSE before caving figure out how to use Arch. Learning Arch probably 10x my Linux knowledge, and it was a really fun experience. Yeah, I think if I were to use something other than Arch, or like as a next step, I would maybe look into something like Bedrock Linux. Because Bedrock apparently allows you to, it's a meta, well, I have a browser, I can just look it up here. Bedrock Linux. Basically what it is, it's a meta distribution that lets you take bits and pieces from other systems, and it supposedly just works. And they do this with some sort of layering system. And as they describe it, it's like a CH root but with specific holes in it. So I think this would be an interesting distro to try. Another one that people keep pulling up is Nix. Nix, I think, is a good idea. I just doesn't really click with me. Sounds like a nightmare to get support for. Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. It does sound like a bit of a train wreck, as I described it at some point. But hey, you know, I've never tried it. I probably shouldn't knock it yet. But okay, we have these ones, which is nice. Yeah, my problem with Nix, at least conceptually, is that it strays us away a little bit too much from the FHS, the file system hierarchy standard or whatever it is. And I think that is something that is probably useful to have, although maybe in practice it doesn't actually matter. But okay, so we have a grid now. This is good. And this actually renders proper proper table. There was a thing here that lets us define the type of this. Is it a button? Archetypes, control options. Yeah, I'm not sure there's anything we can do with that. But okay, let's give these different values. Make this a grid of 3. And then by 1, 2, and 3. I'm very tempted to just hold on. I'm gonna try something. I hope I have JQ here. Like another array element here. It needs to be actual JSON. There we go. Oh, that was much better. And then we are going to collapse these. Yeah, 4J instead. Okay. We have this. And then we have this. And then we have that. Okay, great. And do that again. Okay. And then add our trailing commas because those are nice to have. In my opinion, you should have trailing commas because it makes your diff look better. And this is not updating because I'm gonna have to. I want to move this somewhere else. Move it down here. Okay. You have the arg params and URL query. Oh, yes. Good catch. Okay, there we go. We're gonna make this a 0. We're gonna make this 1. We have something different. And right now we aren't doing anything with it. You know, everywhere where I put this is just comes up. I'll put this up here. Yeah, right now we aren't doing anything with the layers, but we will do that in a bit. But I think this is a good spot to commit. So commit that. Add bare bones grid components. All right, what next? So we have the cell values, and now we can have we can show a player. Yeah, we can show the player. So player cell dot player. We can have a class for it so we can style it later. So if we do this, it means that if we open up the console, the inspector, we can take a look at this, and now we have player 0, player 1, and player 0 again. Because we had player 0s for all these, and 1s for all of these, and then 0s again for these. Okay. That goes into another commit. Express player numbers in grids through classes. This feels like it's a little bit long. Actually, it's fine. Okay. What next? We can have a click handle, where you click it, it does something. Function handle click, handle cell click. And I think we will rely on the svelte events for this. Now we just got to figure out how to do that. Event dispatcher. Can we use to dispatch component events? Yes. Okay. I'll just copy this bit. Move that up top. Response dispatch, let's create event dispatcher. And then here we can say click. Actually, this should probably be a button, shouldn't it? Yeah, this should probably be a button. We're gonna create a button here. Yes, on click. That's right. On click is going to be then. I need references here as row index. Row data, row index, cell data, cell index. Which means this needs to be cell data now, and this is also cell data. Each row data, yes. And then this is now. I think we need something else here. It's going to return a function that takes in, or that dispatches. So then this will dispatch an event. I'm going to call this create handle subclick. So this will be a factory function that takes in a row and a call, and then it dispatches some sort of event with row and call. Dispatch, oh, I don't know, move, player move. is the convention for events kebab case or does it even matter? It's just a string. And then roll call. Detail value can be any object. We'll do that. And then that means that this will be create handle cell click with row index and call cell index. And now this is getting a little bit long, so we're going to move this down. Oh, come on. Vim's indentation of HTML tends to be a little bit weird. I don't know why it does what it does. But okay, so now we have a click. And now it dispatches an event. And we should hopefully be able to see that event in the story. Awesome. But now we have actual buttons. That's good. In the interactions, we have the visual tests, actions, storybook, belts, events. How do we capture these? Actually, it doesn't matter. Events. No events. Events here. Actions. Action arcs. Test up. I guess we probably should pass it in as an arc. But how do you pass in a click handler or a handler to an arc? Oh, wait a minute. I think we might have to do it this way. Automatically matching args. Action event handlers. It is also possible to detect if your component is emitting correct HTML events using action parameters. Disable. Okay. Try to look at the internet for examples. Storybook, SvelteKit event. Or maybe just Svelte. Prerequisites. Integrating the add-on Svelte CSF. So when doing that, you have this, and then you launch your storybook, and that tells us nothing. Setting up a SvelteKit project with storybook. Remove preprocess. Big. Tailwind support. This tells us how to set up, it doesn't tell us how to actually. Am I just missing something in the docs? I'm gonna read that over again. So I think it's actions that we want. I just don't know how to use it for Svelte. Because if you're looking at the component interface, when you're working with it in plain JavaScript, the event handlers are actually provided as a separate argument. Actions are a different thing when you want to work with the DOM. Okay, maybe this is not what we're looking at. So we go back to docs. We go back to SvelteKit. Maybe I'll also open up the Svelte API. Framework contributes the following parameters to Storybook under the SvelteKit experimental namespace. Probably don't want the experimental stuff. Stores navigating. Supported features. Define parameters. It's experimental. It's not what we want. We don't want to mock links. Svelte add-on. I don't recall Storybook having something explicitly for catching event dispatch. That may be the case. But let's have a look at this add-on and see what we have here. Add a button, stories, that's Svelte. Handle click. So this is here. Getting started. Version dependencies. You have documentation on how to use them. You don't have a wiki. And it doesn't look like you have. Well, let's see if there's a GitHub GitHub Pages site for this. There is not. Okay. So yeah, just have to run this to get it to work. But not stories. That's all. Clearly, there has to be something. On click. Where is on click? There isn't an on click here. Where is that? Import button from button. Context module. This is fine. Storybook add-on spelled F. No, but they didn't write it like this. This is if you were to write it as a Svelte components. Which actually would make these a lot easier because then you could just capture the events. Do I want to write it in this format? That's not what the example gives us. Would be slightly nicer though. Writing Svelte native stories. But I think that's okay. We don't need it. What is a story? Stories args. You do not need to modify your underlying components code to use args, story args. We have this. Reuse them via JavaScript objects. Use component args. Will apply to the component stories unless you overwrite them. And global args and args composition. Setting args for the URL. And mapping complex arg values. Nothing. What else do we have here? Parameters. Static name metadata about a story. We don't need that. Svelte storybook events menus. We just have to write a. Okay, maybe we do have to do it this way then, the Svelte story format. Just because it might be a little bit easier. Okay, so how do we use this? Take some additional steps to enable this feature, and we need to add this. I kind of don't want to add another dependency, but if we need to for events, then I guess we. No, but wait, that doesn't change anything. Because here it says that we have the templates, right? But args. The button on click. Oh, actually, no. On click allows you to forward events to add-on actions. Maybe it is necessary. Because as I remember, so I from what I've worked on in Storybook 4, actions is the way to get that to show up. I guess they're using an action to capture the handler, yeah. And so if we don't have this, then yeah, so this is one way to do it with the CSF. But how you do that in normal? Is it even worth figuring that out? Args, primary, label, component, button. No, that's all just React. Okay, we're gonna do this. We gotta move forward. We know that this actually at least works. I'm gonna copy that, and we are going to add this. Unable to find storybook main.js config because I am in the wrong spot. Okay. Stories package based on. We probably don't need this one. Sorry, I accidentally put that in. And so we need CSF, and then the package block. Correct. And then we can ignore the grid stuff. Looking at Discord, it seems like people are either using the CSF add-on or dropping storybook for as far. Interesting. I haven't heard of this one, but we're already in storybook, so I think we're just going to use the CSF add-on. Get add E, yes, and no. Allow writing storybooks, stories in Svelte, in native Svelte. This allows us to capture Svelte events in storybook. Just make sure that is within the column limit. Very good. And so now we rewrite this grid.stories.ts as a native Svelte story. So that'll be this. Okay, copy this over. And we will do source stories grids.stories.svelte. Is that what that said? Yes. Stories. And then paste. There's a recommendation that when you're learning something new, you shouldn't copy and paste. You should write things out and type things out so that you know what it is that you're doing, and that it cements more in your mind. Maybe not for. Import grids from grids. And actually, this we can just copy over from here. For const meta, we can copy over from here. Not worth it for this case because I'm not sure if there's a good story with storybook type stuff. Yeah. And for the most part, with boilerplate like this, you're gonna copy and paste it anyway. So, I want this. Then we're TypeScript, and I need this to be script lang equals yes, so that we can get TypeScript stuff. Why don't we have to export this? Well, we do have to export it. Export const meta. Alright, it can't be the default export because the default export is the component itself. And then you have type story is equal to this, which we may or may not need. Template let args. I don't know why I'm looking over here, because it's all down here. Import story templates. Can we get rid of this? Let args on click allows forward events to add on actions. Right, so it forwards it up the chain. And in this case, we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to get rid of these. We do need at least one story though. And we are going to say this is story base, with the args being this stuff. Which I may consider moving that out into a thing here. Or maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. But the template here, we have grids. And we can forward the on whatever. What do we say here? Player move. Probably does it. I may have to restart the server. Wait, what did I run? Oh, I re-inted it. Hopefully that's hopefully that's not a problem. I'm gonna get rid of the old TypeScript one. Yes. Run npm run storybook. Couldn't find story matching grid thing. Are you sure story with that ID? Well, let's restart. Okay. What do you want? Template args, grids, component grids, screen. Hello. I couldn't find story map. I think you need to modify another file that lists these svelte files. That is possible. Git logs. The only thing that changed here are these. Well, let's look at the docs, see what we have. Maybe I need to build storybook actually. npm run build storybook. Shouldn't be necessary. But okay, so in storybook main.js, add this. In storybook main.js, include the include stories, svelte files in your stories patterns by changing that to this. Okay. So we will try that. So we'll get .storybook main.js, main.ts, and then this is now a svelte. Okay. So npm run storybook. And hopefully the build storybook didn't actually dump any files here, which it did. Might put that in git ignore. Unable to index grid stories. Svelte invariant failed, no match or index found for that. Would you like to help improve storybooks by sending anonymous scratch reports? No, I think that one's my fault. Error fetching index.json. This is the same thing. Did I miss a step? I probably did. Storybook main.js, add it to this, which I did not. It helps if you actually follow the instructions. Okay. That is probably sufficient. Alright, well that's a good sign. Hey, look at that, we have a grid. But our grid is no longer there. And that is because it actually exists. There's a table. There is a table, so the grid is rendered, but the data isn't being passed. And is that because I had accidentally... Yes, I did. Okay. No, it isn't, because I have data here. This is an object that contains the data as a prop. Args rounded true, and then you have the source. Grid needs the props passed to it too. Yes, you're right. Which means I need to do this. Okay, now we have a grid. And I click on it, and we don't get any action. But at least we have the grid. Now we just got to figure out how to get this to... Well, let's see if the actions actually... No, so we probably need to set that up. The storybook test fn supply function. Actually, we should take a look at this and see if there's anything here. It does not. The recommended way to write actions is to use the fn utility from storybook test to mock supply arguments. And so then we have that. Automatically matching args. So what we can do, we can bind to it manually, like so. I think it's up here. And then we can say grids on player move is fn. And that should allow us to see these things. Or not. Alright, what's left here? If your component calls an arg because of either the user's interaction or the play function and that arg is spied on, the event will show up. Oh, do I have to specifically spy on the arg? Automatically matching. An option is to use global parameter to match all arg types that match a certain pattern. The following configuration automatically creates actions for each on arg type. It's quite useful, not the recommended way of writing actions. Okay, so then we don't do that. Action event handling. Maybe this is where it matters. It doesn't say that here. It is also possible to detect if your component is emitting correct HTML elements using the parameters actions handles parameter. This will bind a standard HTML event handler to the outermost HTML elements rendered by components. Yada yada. The thing is, svelte events are not HTML events as far as I'm aware. So that is not cool. So what do you want us to do here? Exports. Action. Allows you to create an action that appears in the actions panel. Create event dispatcher produce normal JS events action. It does that, okay. The reason why I thought it wasn't was because actions don't cross component boundaries unless you explicitly say it does. So there must be so if it's normal JS events, then that means that there's probably some code handling it at the component level. Okay. And that means you can do that. We can have handles here. Parameters. Do I have to move that? We're gonna move this. I'm gonna move that. Actions. Handles. What is player? Player. Now the other reason why we might not have it is because maybe this isn't actually working properly. But at this point we have no way of controlling. Okay. Maybe we actually do need an action. So if we have this instead of FN, same result as if you did that, yes. Yeah, I guess we could have just decorators with actions. Well, I guess it's worth looking at. At this point, it's just try anything until it sticks. You're gonna move this. You're gonna move that over there. Is after parameters? Yes, this is outside. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. What else can we try? We haven't tried the action function. Import action from storybook. Do this. And then we take this. There. Maybe that'll work. Okay, we see something. Custom events, bubbles. But where is our data? Detail is objects. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, great. So now we know that works. Can we make this a little bit more succinct? Possibly. Do I care enough? Maybe not. Yeah, this is a lot of boilerplate. No, I didn't think we would end up with this much boilerplate, but turns out we do. I'm gonna get rid of the parts that we hopefully don't need. I need you to reload. There's got to be a way to unwrap this event, because I remember when I was working with actions before, it wasn't just the event that it's put out. But why do they say the storybook test FN spy if it doesn't actually do it? Interesting. Okay. Well, whatever. At least it kind of works. We're gonna commit that. Add P. We are going to amend what we had there. Yeah, it is kind of ugly, but I don't feel like I want to spend more time trying to figure out how to get that to look nicer. Is it completely reworked as callbacks in Svelte 5? Yeah, I noticed a lot of the Svelte 5 stuff is making it feel like a little bit more like React, which, if it works better, I guess is nice. It just feels a little bit weird to have Svelte be like that. But then again, it seems like all the other libraries and frameworks are converging together, because React 19 is now getting a compiler, and you know, it also has a compiler, Svelte and Vue. But you know, if it means more interoperability and all the things are getting better, all for it. What am I looking at? Action name string void allows you to create an action that appears in the actions panel. No, this can't be right. There's no way this is void. It's got to return something. It's got to return an actual function. Okay. Multiple actions. Configuration. Step. Limits. Okay, whatever. It's fine. We'll move on. What do we do here? Whoa. That's not good. These set tab width equals 8. No, these are actual spaces. But then what's this? Oh, wrong file. Yeah, don't do that. Set no lists. Do that for this one too. And this is why you look at the diffs before you commit. Helps you catch things that you didn't want. Git add source stories. converts a grid story to native svelte story. I don't need to type that all out. Git commits. What did we do in this one? We had created an event dispatcher. We turned them all into buttons. Commits player move events and player moves. Button is sell, button is sure. To be fair, I do both steps at once with git add -p. Yeah, I usually use git add -p too. Sometimes it's useful to do git diff just as a big overview of things, so that I know which ones I need when doing p. But otherwise, I will generally add things with p, unless it's very small, in which case. But yeah, add p, for those who aren't aware. That allows you to step through all the hunks that have changed and interactively decide whether it should be added to the commit or whether it should be staged or not. If you're not in the habit of using it, you probably should look into it. Oh, this. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna amend this commit. That's the wrong commit to amend on. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna add that back in. Amend this. And then we put that back in. And we want the commit before it. So get fixed up. Yeah. Change that. And then fix up the one before it. And then now we can do head that 3. Get rebase I forgot the auto squash flag. Oh well. And now our history is in a good state. Okay. So now that we have this, we can take a look at the game logic, maybe. We have a display, but we don't have a component that deals with, or that actually runs the game. But maybe we look at the game logic. This is why I design systems, why I don't build them. That said, this is probably a good exercise regardless. I'm gonna put this in a library. Turpip engine. And so it'll be good practice to isolate these changes and make sure that they're in code that doesn't assume what the front end is going to be, so that you can replace the front end with something else. For example, right now we're building it in SvelteKit, but if you take this, take it out, and then replace it with a console front end, you can do that. And so then you can play it on your terminal. I made the wrong thing. I want a directory. What do I want to call this thing? Did I think about this far-ish? feel like I want a class so that I can keep internal states. Let's call this game. And this is where unit tests would actually help, except I didn't set that up. We're just gonna wing this. Exports default class, export class game. And we export default. What do we need in the game? We need board. We need players. Or just have a single state variable here. What am I looking at? So we have this class. We want to construct it. We want to be able to do stuff. And so this is going to be the primary interface for which we interact with. So maybe we want to move up. I'll start with a constructor. We have a constructor that sets this dot state to be equal to some default. I don't know. Board is empty. I think in the future I do want to have irregular boards, but for now we can stick with regular square boards. And so for that flexibility, I'm going to have this options object. But it did also say that we were going to hardcode this for now. We have a board, and this takes in what is we have cell, and we can make the cell be a class as well, or we can just have a factory function. Decision. Value 0. No, value starts at 1. Player is null. -1. Sentinel values are bad. Or well, some of them are. But I think this will make it easier, so then we don't have to check if it's null. We just assume it's a number. That's probably but we do want to do a fill. So JavaScript fill array. I know there are a bunch of ways to do this. I don't remember what the latest recommendation is. The last time we did this, we did something like this. Except this isn't necessarily going to work because we don't want the same exact object every time. We want something else. Oh, yeah, the mapper function, that's what it was. Okay, I guess we can do that. So for now, we're going to have a const here. This is going to be board size. We're going to default this to 6 for now. And so we are going to do array.from surely that isn't going to do that. Sparse arrays. Okay, whatever. And this mapper function that creates this. So the CSS classes are going to be player 0, player 1, player negative. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we start at, maybe we offset it so that it's player 1 and then player 0 is the player. It'll be a little bit more intuitive, I think. But that does mean that we need to change this to be player +1. No, this is just player. But the cell index, no, the indices I think are still okay. Yeah, that's probably fine. It's array from board size. And then we have another array from, probably make a helper for this. Or maybe not. Why am I having so much trouble with this? Want another one of these. And then you also want another one of these that returns this. We have to wrap that in parentheses because otherwise it will parse wrong. Surely got to be a better way to format this. Property state does not exist on type game. State is board state or game state. And then we import game state from. That should probably be brought in. That's I'm gonna move this. Source lib pip engine game states.ts, which means then we have to move this. Parsing error. Yes. Parsing error on this one. Declaration error, statement expected, not named default. If I could spell right. Okay. So this doesn't look great, but it's okay. So now we have a game state. We have a constructor that initializes it, and we can maybe turn this into create initial. We can refactor it. What do we do here? We change the imports, and then we loop the thing. Add this houses. This is the main class for running. Sure. It is so much easier to just design a system rather than build it. What else do we have here? We also need to move. Well, we also need to do something with the board. So if you have a move at row call, and then I think you also need a player. Actually, no, we should keep. We'll probably have that in game. The current player, which we will need to add. Active player is a number, and then our default active player will be 1. And this is probably something that we're going to want to move out to a separate function to help out. So, bringing back the game, what happens when we do a move is, and yet again, I wish that we had set up a unit test, is if there are enough, so for example, here, it's just 1, and there are 4 dice around it. As long as we haven't hit 4 yet, all it will do is increase the number by 1. Once we've hit 4, then it explodes and occupies the territories around it, passing or adding another pip to each of the surrounding ones. So we'll start with the first case where we assume that we don't have that explosion, and all we do is we're going to I don't want to do this. I was gonna modify game states, but doing what's the word I'm looking for? I'd rather have this functional and not have it mutate. We're gonna mutate anyway. Immutable, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'd rather have this be immutable. But you know what? For simplicity, we're just gonna have this mutable for now. Yeah, we're just gonna do that for now, just so we have something to work with, and then we can refactor. I feel like there's going to be a whole ton of refactoring later. I'm going to accumulate a ton of tech debt here. But that's okay. So move, row, and call. And we aren't going to bother with error handling for now. We should at some point. Not right now. So this dot states dot board. What's this? This is an array, row, call, plus plus. An arithmetic operand must be of type any number. Right, because value. At least we have TypeScript. Patents a temporary fixed. Yeah. Yeah, why does that to turn it into an emote? I think I assume that anything that has an emote form is going to turn into an emote unless you specifically put in the Unicode glyph for dots. or code point for not turning into any emotes. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so we have this. And then we'll make this called cell is equal to this thing here. So we don't have to do it twice. We have cell.value plus plus and cell.player because we need to change the player is going to be the active player. This dot state dot active player. Okay, so this changes the ownership of the cell. Gonna move this out again. Great. Now can we see this in action? We don't have anything hooked up here. But what we can do, I'm gonna commit this just so we have something. P. Yes. Yes. Add or game adds methods. Wait a minute. Why is this? Oh, that's bad. Hold on. Gotta make sure we're using space. I actually don't mind tabs for indentation, as long as you use tabs for indentation and not align. But in all the code that that's from an idealistic point of view. In practical terms, I don't actually. Will I need to rebase? I have not yet committed, so I don't think so. Wait a minute. That is a good question. I wonder if I care. Because that would mean that we'd have to. Oh, actually, no, I do have to care a little bit. I don't need to rebase, so I can just do an amend, which means I can edit this. Source lives with engine game.ts add p, and we're going to edit this, and we're going to remove this bit. We're also going to remove this bit because that is all that we've added, and then the rest of it is white space. Then we're going to amend that. Just make sure that this is correct. And we're going to amend the last commits. And now we do git show, and we should see exactly that. Okay, great. Now we can go back to this. Bring back the active player and bring back the move. I think I had commit add game. No. Well, I have it in here. Yes. Game add method to perform move. A move is. Do this. No, this is fine. A move is. What I'm looking for. Performed with a coordinate row call and sets the cells form of the coordinates The cell's value at that coordinate is increased by 1, and the active and the owner is set to the active. Edit. Oh. Add those. And then we are going to format this. I'm a bit of a stickler for line breaks. So I think that's the correct line break there. Okay, so now we have that. Now we have something that actually moves. And now if we put this in somewhere, game.svelte. Well, that should probably run outside, shouldn't it? Okay, let's have a game.svelte. Scripts lang equals yes. Grids here. Imports. We are inside of lib, so we can do what is happening. Data. Like actually, what is happening? Oh wait, that's not what I want. Set tw equals empty. tw equals 0. Text width says how small the or how many columns to go until you start wrapping. I had it at 8 earlier because I think I had meant to set the tab width, but tw is text width, which is different. For very narrow terms, such as this. So grids data. We have data here being, I don't know, game dot state dot board board with an A. Should it be accessing it directly? Maybe not, but it's fine. I'm probably going to regret these decisions once we actually start completing the game a little bit more and it goes public. Okay. So what do we have? At mount. Actually, it doesn't need to be on mount. It can be at creation time. Fonts are let's game equals a new game. Imports game from their pip engine. And we are actually going to make a barrel file for this. Game states, and also game just regular. Cannot find module game states once thing because we need the relative paths. Import can only end with a TS. Right. Export type star from not this one, but I do need this one to be JS. Has some weird syntax highlighting, but okay. And then maybe this will just work. Then we can go into our routes here, go to page.svelte, get rid of all this. Script, lang, yes, import, game, no, yes, game, from lib/game, svelte. Do I not have an omni-complete function, or is this just not? Game. Sure. And then we can run this. npm run something. Dev. And we can go here. And we should see something. 500 internal error. Nice. Default is not a constructor. The default is not a constructor. Which one? Feed SSR import 2.default at game.svelte. Game.svelte is this one. Page.svelte. 5-step. I did import game. It's supposed to be import game. Yes, you're right. Okay. There we go. We have a bunch of ones. We click on them, they do nothing. And that is because we have not hooked this up to anything. But this is a good start, I think. Render game on page. Commit messages. Okay, so now we're going to have some sort of thing here. I think the move is actually going to have to... Is the move going to have to advance the active player? I think it does. We're going to say players is 2 and active player is 1. Which means we're going to have to add it here. So this is the number of players. And then once that is done, then it does this dot state dot active player plus +1 modulo the number of players. +1 again. There's got... No, I think this has to be... No, you do have to do +1. I'm confused. So +1, so that we advance to the next player. And then we want to have it loop around. So if we're on player 2, we want him to go back to 1. So this dot say that active player will get us to 3. And then we modulo by 2 because we have two players. What? No, surely I'm missing something. And maybe it is just this one. So if we're at 1, if we have the first active player and we have 2 players, then we modulo, we stay at 1, then we add 1. If we're at 2, then it becomes 2, and we modulo 2, this becomes 0, we add 1, we end up at 1. I think this is advance to next. And maybe that'll go into a helper function. Okay, what do we have? Did I not render game on page? I don't think I actually. Yeah, I did not. Source lib game.svelte and source lib pip engine index substance. And we can amend this. And then now we have this here. Yes. We can add P, do this, do this. I'm missing something. That's because I didn't save this one. The type is important. Then we can commit this. Advance game advance to the next player after move is done. And now we can actually hook this up to this. So we have the data here, and then we have on player move. We do something. Throw call. Game.move will call. I think that's how that works. We'll find out if it does. I'm going to start with console logs and see if this actually works. Oh, wait a minute. No. Yeah, of course it doesn't actually re-render because this needs to be this needs to have some sort of assignment, right? Yeah, there's no assignments here. And this is why you do not, or this is why you use things that are immutable. Function handle player move. We're going to take this. That's here. The things you do for to save yourself time. End up just biting it later on. Game equals. I hate that, but I think it's something we have to do. Handle player move. Yes. Well, that is a good start. We see numbers go up. And we do see the class change. And now I realize that maybe we should be putting that in a data attributes. We'll do that in a bit. But also maybe it doesn't matter. Handle player move, data on player move. Look up move to our handle player moves. Handle clicks on game board. A click on a cell's button will register a move. Sure. And so now we have additional logic here. Which does, if we come back to here, the KJumpingCube, we have to check the number of cells that are around it. And if we are at, actually for now, I guess we can assume that we have 4. And then cascade outwards, or maybe not, because we do know when we're at the edge. If we're at the edge here and here, because we do know the size, or rather we know if there's something to the left and something to the right, and we can figure out if there's something up at the top and bottom. And so if we have, say, this 2 here, 2 is the maximum that it holds. We can also pre-calculate this. Oh yeah, and another thing is that if you don't own the territory, or rather if it's owned by another opponent, you can't actually click on it. So that's something we're going to have to guard against too. But maybe we'll start with that. I'll add some CSS to do that. To show us what the player is going to be, or what the player is, and then maybe implement the whether it's or rather to block the move if it doesn't work, or if it's another player. So where can we put the CSS? I think that's under lib. Theme default dots. I need classes on this. And the reason I'm making this as a standalone CSS file is because I want the theme to be swappable, which means we're going to be building this and adding classes so that we can theme them from the outside. Board. Cell button. We're going to qualify all of that with that, and then we're going to have this, and then we're going to have Maybe it is worth putting in the data attributes here. We'll make it a little bit easier. Cell data.player. So we have that, which means that we can do data player equals, say, I guess it doesn't actually. We're gonna leave that out for now. I'm gonna put this back. So we're going to hard code the player player colors. So this is going to be player 1. And whatever this color. I had colors. I can go look in GIMP for it, but I don't want to change desktops. So I'm going to look at the Tango icon guidelines, so I can get the palettes for it. I mean, it's this thing here, but it seems like it's not. Okay, Wikipedia has it. We're gonna take this. I think it was this group here. So that's player 1, and I think I might want to consider changing this so that it matches the usual player colors. So blue for player 1, red for player 2. Or is it red for player 1? Is that even universal? Is that just Nintendo? Anyway. Player 2. I'm gonna make this a background color. Player 2 is this blue here. This blue. And then default background color is background color is going to be, let's say this butter here. It's not quite the same, but also I don't really want to pull out a color picker. Could. Okay, and then we need to import the CSS file. So imports lib/theme default.scs. I think this should just preprocessor dependency status not found. I did not. Did I not? I forgot. This actually has to come in separately. Svelte file uses TypeScript plus CSS. Must first be JavaScript and CSS. Vite preprocess. Capable handling language flavors. Vite handles this. Setter project TypeScript will be included by default, which we have. Okay. But I think, yeah, we do need to add, install it. All right. Well, that is a good sign, mostly. Ah, right, because it's not on the actual button. It's on the cell itself. So that's gonna have to change. Surely there's got to be an easier way to do this. I mean, I suppose we could put it on the button. But also, that's not how that works, apparently. What am I doing wrong? I'm pretty sure you can add styles to a button, like a background color. What am I missing? I know the style sheet works, so we saw it working. Okay. So why don't we start with no button? And see if this works. I should see these things being yellow. Because there is no such thing as cell. Which I think I actually do need to. Okay, I'm gonna move this over here instead. I'm gonna move this inside here. So we're just not gonna have a class there instead. And then we're gonna have it on the button instead. Now, that should simplify things a little bit. I don't know why expand tab isn't by default here. Okay, so that looks good. And we have it switching, very good. Get out of package lock. Add SAS. Support writing style sheets SAS. Let's do it that way. Then it's diff hashed. Theme board. Add default game. Okay. That is probably a good place to stop. Yeah, it's probably a good place to stop. We'll continue this another time. We are coming out to about 2.5 hours. I will be publishing this up on GitHub, so watch for that. I didn't end up actually making a repo yet, so yeah, it'll be under my account under the Turpip name. A link will be in the description whenever I end up making that. should be right after the stream. I'll also be tweeted out, and if you're in the Discord, I will be posting it there as well. And if you're not in the Discord, you should consider joining the Discord. Link is in the description. Okay, what else? There is actually something else. Give me a bit. I forgot to actually set this up. Feels like it's been a while since I last streamed. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow we are doing this. And it's probably going to show up behind me because OBS is not cooperating. No, the Windows just gone. Okay, let me move this in. Reset transform, yes. Tomorrow is Pi Day. And to celebrate, we are going to be playing Euclidia. It is a game where you have a compass and a straight edge, and you are tasked with creating certain shapes or calculating certain angles or things like that. So it sounds complicated, but it isn't really. And it is a lot of fun. A lot of head scratchers too. So yeah, that'll be our puzzle gaming slot tomorrow. Pi Day, don't miss it. It's going to be at the same time. And then looking ahead to Friday, it's going to be in the afternoon my time. So it's 12:30 Eastern. Much earlier than usual. So just keep that in mind. That's 7 hours. That's 7 hours earlier than usual. I have something in the evening, and I happen to be off that day, so I figured I may as well stream. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for sticking around and helping me out with this project. It's been a bit of a struggle. It really shouldn't be. I've been programming for about 15 years now. This shouldn't be hard. But I guess I am a little bit out of practice. But okay, yes, that's it. Thanks all for coming, and I will see you next stream. Night chat.